1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The central bank says that Sri Lanka has become the first country in Asia to conduct the process of controlled determination of the IMF. Water levels of the main tanks of the Anuradhapura districts have been increased due to the prevailing heavy rains in the area. General Shavindra Silva says that commitment and dedication done by the war heroes in the history has led this country towards the present-day national security. Prime Minister calls for increasing economic and religious ties with Myanmar. Government mobilizes a special delegation to ensure welfare of Sri Lankans embroiled in Russian-Ukraine conflict. It is stressed that not only the traders, the consumers must know about the laws related to them. Foreign news, Facebook and Instagram suspected to be too addictive. And in sports, Ronaldo tops highest paid athlete list. The central bank says that Sri Lanka has become the first country in Asia to conduct the process of controlled determination of the IMF. Sri Lanka has released the report on September last year. IMF staff and Sri Lankan authorities have reached staff-level agreement on economic policies to conclude the second review of the 4-year EFF-supported program and the 2024 Article 4 consultation. Once the review is approved by the IMF management and completed by the IMF Executive Board, Sri Lanka will have access to $337 million in financing. Macroeconomic policy reforms are starting to bear fruit. Sustaining the reform momentum and addressing governance weaknesses and corruption vulnerabilities are critical to put the economy on a path towards lasting recovery and stable and inclusive growth. Regional Irrigation Office says that the water level of the main tanks of the Anuradhapura district has been increased due to the prevailing heavy rains in the area. Water levels of the Rajangania and Angamur tanks have increased significantly. 3 sluice gates of the Rajangania Reservoir and a sluice gate of Angamur Reservoir have been opened at present. The water is being released to the Kalaoya. Meanwhile, water level of many tanks in the area are also been increased at present. The irrigation department further says that if the rain continues, water levels could rapidly increase. The highest rainfall for the past 24 hours ended at 8:30 a.m. this morning has been reported from Aralaganville area. The Met Department says that the amount was 137.6 millimeters. Heavy rainfall exceeding 50 millimeters were reported from many areas of the country. The department requested authorities to be more vigilant on the weather forecasts. Chief of Defence Staff General Shavindra Silva says that commitment and dedication by the war heroes in the history has led this country towards the present-day national security and the development of the country. Joining the Jana Ravaya program of the SLBC this morning, he said that the war heroes led the freedom experience in the country at present. General Silva reiterated that the country must commemorate the war heroes who sacrificed their lives and their family members and also the injured war heroes all the time. Younger generation has no idea about the sacrifices made by the war heroes to save the motherland from the brutal terrorism. Chief of Defence Staff Shavindra Silva further said that the younger generation must be educated regarding the commitment done by the war heroes to this country. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The 45 Under 45 Entrepreneurship Excellence Award ceremony was held yesterday in Colombo under the patronage of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The aim of this award ceremony was to further encourage talented young entrepreneurs who have achieved successful results in a short period of time by adopting innovative methods. Awards were presented to 56 young executive officers and entrepreneurs. A special award was presented to the late Dr. A.T. Ariyaratne, the founder of Sarvodaya movement, and it was received by Mrs. Nita Ariyaratne. Minister of Industries and Health, Dr. Ramesh Padirana, Secretary of the Prime Minister Anura Dissanayake, and Anura Sirivadana, Chairman of the Global CEO Forum, which is the organizer of the event, were also present at the occasion. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said there is huge potential for further increasing trade, economic and Buddhist ties between Myanmar and Sri Lanka. He said this when Myanmar's Chargé d'Affaires Lee Ye-win called on him at the Temple Trees yesterday. The Prime Minister said that economic and trade relations in many areas such as gem and jewellery, tea and coconut trade, minerals, tourism with a special emphasis on Buddhist tourism could be strengthened. He also suggested barter trade on tea and coconut as Myanmar is keen to export coconut to Sri Lanka for processing and re-export into third world countries. Acting Ambassador Lee Ye-win said Sri Lanka could participate in Yangon Trade Fair to explore potential areas of import and export and economic collaboration. She also said Myanmar will mark 75 years of diplomatic relations with Sri Lanka this year. She added that Myanmar will also celebrate 1,000 years of establishment of Theravada Buddhism during Bada dynasty, the 11th century. Assistant Director of the Consumer Affairs Authority Udar Nanayakkara said that not only the traders, the consumers must know about the laws related to them. The Assistant Director was speaking at a press briefing held at the Government Information Department today. The press briefing was held regarding the national responsibility of the Consumer Affairs Authority to strengthen the rights of the consumers. The Assistant Director said that consumers can be satisfied by removing the gap between trader and the consumer. Former Army Commander General Mahesh Senanayake has joined the Samagijana Balvegaya led by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. The opposition leader has also appointed Senanayake as the leader of the Samagijana Viruddha Balvegaya. Senanayake served as the 22nd Commander of the Army and was promoted to the rank of General by former President Maithripala Sirisena in 2019 after Senanayake's retirement. The same year, Senanayake announced his candidacy for the presidential election under the National People's Party, contesting against former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
State Minister for Foreign Affairs Tharaka Balasuriya announced that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has issued directives for the dispatch of a specialized delegation to Russia to investigate the welfare of Sri Lankans amidst the ongoing Russian-Ukraine war. According to the State Minister, this delegation will include the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, a former ambassador to Russia and officials from Ministry of Foreign Affairs with plans for prompt departure to Russia. State Minister Balasuriya made this announcement during a press briefing titled Collective Path to a Stable Country held at the President's Media Centre yesterday.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
In Watchlight this afternoon, Fort Police has commenced an investigation into the threat made by an unknown person to kill and burn the State Finance Minister Shehan Semasinghe. A management assistant and an office worker of the Finance Ministry have made this complaint, citing that he has received this telephone call on Wednesday. This office assistant had answered the call and received through the main telephone number. When the office assistant said that the State Finance Minister was not in office, the person had threatened the State Finance Minister, and that came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to world news, the headlines first. Putin arrives in China's Little Moscow on second day of visit. Algerian man found alive in cellar after 26 years. And Facebook and Instagram suspected to be too addictive. Russian President Vladimir Putin has landed in the Chinese city of Harbin, home to a large Russian population. He is expected to visit China-Russia trade fair later today to underscore the strength of economic links between the countries. It comes a day after a meeting between Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, where they praised their deep ties. Putin said they also spoke about Ukraine, adding that both leaders wanted to find a political resolution to the war. This is Putin's first international visit since the start of his fifth presidential term, following an election where he ran virtually unopposed. Russia has looked to China as a lifeline as it faces hundreds of sanctions from the US and its Western allies that aim to cripple Moscow's war machine. Beijing has been accused of aiding Moscow's war by supplying technology and components, but China says none of this is lethal and also has commercial applications. A man has been found alive in his neighbor's cellar after going missing about 26 years ago. Omar bin Omran disappeared from Jelwa in Algeria during the Algerian civil war in 1990s when he was in his late teens. Now aged 45, Mr. bin Omar has been discovered just 200 meters from where he grew up. Officials confirmed they had arrested a 61-year-old man suspected of keeping him prisoner. Mr. bin Omran's disappearance came in the middle of a decade-long conflict between Algeria's government and Islamist groups. His family feared he had been among the estimated 200,000 killed or as many as 20,000 kidnapped during the unrest. But he found hidden in a sheepfold under a haystack on May 12th, according to reports. The European Union is investigating Facebook and Instagram over whether they are so addictive that they are having negative effects on the physical and mental health of children. It will also scrutinize if they have done enough to check whether users are old enough to use them and how content is recommended to children. A number of big tech firms are now under investigation for potential breaches of the EU's tough new Digital Services Act (DSA) and could be fined up to 6% of the annual global turnover. Meta, which owns both platforms, says it has spent a decade developing more than 50 tools and policies to protect children. In September, Meta provided regulations which report on risks associated with its platforms as required under the DSA. The EU has responded by beginning proceedings. And back to the headlines of the world news. Putin arrives in China's Little Moscow on second day of visit. Algerian man found alive in cellar after 26 years. Facebook and Instagram suspected to be too addictive.
Development news.
In development news, the government has decided to draft a patient safety rights charter to ensure the safety of hospitalized patients. Health and Industries Minister Dr. Ramesh Patran said that as per the reports from many countries in the world, 1 out of 7 patients who are hospitalized face issues in the hospital as it's a global situation. The minister stated this in his discussion held with the hospital staff on Wednesday after participating in a special inspection tour to find out about the current condition of the Gampaha Wadupitiwala base hospital. The minister also said that he decided to prepare this charter considering the problems faced by the patients during hospitalization, and that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Cristiano Ronaldo has topped the Forbes list of highest paid athletes for the fourth time in his career, with John Ram moving up to second. Ronaldo was also headed the list last year following his move to Saudi Arabian football club Al Nassr. Business magazine Forbes says external 39-year-old Portugal forward earned $260 million up from $136 over the past 12 months. Ronaldo's great rival Lionel Messi has fallen a place third behind Ram. The Spanish golfer has jumped up to second on the back of his switch to the Saudi-founded LIV Golf Tour and is reported to have earned $218 million. Footballers Neymar and Karim Benzema have also entered the top 10 after moves to the Saudi Pro League. Meanwhile, Indian football icon and captain of the national team Sunil Chhetri has announced his decision to retire from international football on the 6th of June. In a video posted on X, he said that India's World Cup qualification match against Kuwait would be his last game. Chhetri, aged 39, has played for the country for 19 years, having scored his first goal during his debut match in 2005. He is among the country's most celebrated players, credited with shining a spotlight on Indian football nationally and internationally amidst a cricket-centric culture. And that was sports news.
Go ekathiana youth කට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Chinese electric vehicle maker NIO has unveiled the first car from its new low-price brand Onvo on a direct challenge to Tesla's best-selling car. With prices starting at 219,900 yuan, the L60 SUV is more than 10% cheaper than the world's most popular EV, Tesla's Model Y, which has a price tag of 249,900 yuan. It comes in the same week that US President Joe Biden announced he would quadruple the import tax on electric cars from China. Like other EV makers, Tesla has been struggling with falling sales in the face of intense competition from Chinese brands. The vehicle was unveiled at Shanghai by NIO's chief executive William Li, who said that the company aimed to rival Tesla's Model Y and Toyota Array V4.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go එකක් තියන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Crude prices edged up yesterday after data showed a stabilizing U.S. job market, fueling expectations that the Federal Reserve could begin to cut interest rates in autumn, which should stimulate the economy and boost oil demand. Brent crude futures settled higher at $83.27 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude ended at $79.23. The number of Americans filling new claims for unemployment benefits fell last week, pointing to an underlying strength in the labor market.
Weather report.
Showery and windy conditions are expected to enhance due to pre-monsoonal conditions over the country and surrounding sea areas. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabragama, eastern, northern and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere of the island after 12 noon. Heavy showers, about 100 millimeters, are likely at some places in the western, Sabragama, central, eastern and the Ua provinces. And to end this news broadcast, the headlines once again. The central bank says that Sri Lanka has become the first country in Asia to conduct the process of controlled determination of the IMF. Water levels of the main tanks of the Anuradhapura district have increased due to the prevailing heavy rains in the area. General Shavendra Silva says that the commitment and dedication by the war heroes in the history has led this country towards the present-day national security. Prime Minister calls for increasing economic and religious ties with Myanmar. Government mobilizes a special delegation to ensure welfare of Sri Lanka embroiled in Russian-Ukraine conflict. It is stressed that not only the traders, the consumers must know about the laws related to them. Foreign news, Facebook and Instagram suspected to be too addictive, and in sports, Ronaldo tops highest paid athlete list. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And the time has moved on to 1:31 and 35 seconds. You're with Radio Sri Lanka.